some of the misunderstandings of the Moorish history that our people really need to understand.
Wow, that's vast.
Just going on something.
It's just so vast.
Right.
Because, wow. The main thing is people don't know anything about their nationality or birthrights, or that they are a Moor. Or, well, let's start with what is a Moor. That would be the first thing. It's like, what is a Moor? And what is, like they'll say all this stuff about a Moor. I mean, it is the manifestation of the being into the flesh, the being who travels upon the waters of the earth, but first beginning in the waters and also the land of the earth, but beginning in the waters of their mother's womb. See, when you look up the word Moor, it just doesn't mean a noun. It's actually an action. So it means that since man is mind and we're all spirit, and then we come into the flesh, so we travel upon the 7 stages of development in the waters of the mother's womb. That's mooring. Right, and then when we're done, we get cut from the navel, which is navigating L. And then we become navigating L's upon the earth plane. So you start there. So if that was understood and accepted, there would really be no problem, because people say, well, I don't have to be anything to be whatever. Well, I just explained to you what that is. It means that if you came through the womb, then you were mooring, and you were mooring through the 7 stages of the waters and the 7 stages of development in your mother's womb. And then you didn't have to be called anything, because that's just what it is. So those who actually call themselves Moors are actually saying, I'm not anything except that I am, that I am.
That I am.
That's really what's being said. So that's the first misunderstanding.
Right.
What about the misunderstanding of Moors being a group?
No.
Or organization, or
No.
a movement, or crew? Because many people say, I'm not down with the Moors, or I'm not a Moor. They attribute it to a card-carrying group.
Right. Well, first of all, in all of this, we got to at some point get into what Prophet knew what you all leave, because that's something to really clear up. But first of all, when people say, I'm not down with the Moors, what are the Moors doing? Well, they need to look at themselves and say, what are you doing? Because you're a Moor, whether you recognize it or not. Again, just giving the explanation of what that is.
From the militant aspect of it, like the militant, quote unquote, the so-called militant group that's out there, a lot of them seem to can't get with the Moors because they say they are integrationalists.
Who?
Integrationalists, meaning that y'all don't mind white people being
okay.
White people can come amongst you.
Okay.
Let's talk more about that as well.
Well, the first thing,
because our people still dealing with the black and white issue.
You just answered it. But be honest with you, you just answered it. They're dealing with the black and white issue, which is absolutely a farce and has nothing to do with these issues. That's the problem. This black and white issue is what was set before them to deal with, to be a diversion. All right? Now I'm gonna tell you what I think about the what you call militant, but they're really the warriors with, I would say, without a cause, because this is the cause. The cause is to protect family. And that starts with mother and the children. But now, as far as this black and white, go back to that because it's important, is that was what was placed in the front. And what we need to recognize is that so-called white people, because we got to stop. You know what? We're saying that we got to stop calling ourselves black. But equally, once you understand that, you got to stop calling these people white. Not just because white is a political status, or white means purity, and purity means God, and God is the ruler of the earth. It's because they're not white people. Period. If it goes for us, it goes for them. Now, their nationality, they gave it up when they came over here to try to take your stuff, your land, your estate. They had to give up their nationality to become a United States of America citizen, which is a corporation. Now, let's get straight with why that's important. If it's a corporation and you are a citizen / member of a corporation, there's nothing for you to be but a employee / servant of a corporation. There's no other nothing there to be. It's no such thing as that. Because the whole deal was to birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them, the whole deal was like, this is really the quote unquote promised land. This is really the quote unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. And I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it.
This is the Garden of Eden.
It's the Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal the day arrived.
Absolutely.
In the Garden of Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies.
Milk and honey.
That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies and you read books, well, however old they may be or whatever like that, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our problem. That part of our problem is the miseducation. We have been lied to.
I want to go back to what you were saying earlier about the nationality concept. There are brothers and sisters that are claiming that they're sovereign, but they have, driver's license and they still have slave names. So can you please explain or clarify for those brothers and sisters out there that, they are following the concepts of sovereignty, but if you are a national if you're a U.S. citizen, it can only be property or 14th Amendment citizen. How does that contradict with your claim for sovereignty?
Well, first of all, and this is absolutely, unequivocally, most important, you do not have sovereignty if you don't have a nationality.
None. It comes first.
It comes with it.
Exactly.
In other words, sovereignty doesn't stand on its own.
Can't.
It comes with nationality.
Yes.
So the unity for everybody is nationality. Everybody got one. What's yours?
So what if there's an organization that say that they have a nation?
Okay, an organization that says they have a nation. First of all, nations start with women.
Yeah.
That's number one, coming from her womb. Mm-hmm. She is the one who creates nations. So there's a bunch of some brothers, sons somewhere talking about they started a nation. That's corporate. That's fictitious. In fact, this whole thing about nationality wouldn't even be a thing if it wasn't for the fact that people respected and honored their mothers and fathers from the first place. Because one mother's breast had given us all suck. One mother's breast had given us all suck. One.
I want you to go into this whole thing of dealing with sovereignty. Okay. What is it to be a sovereign?
To answer this question, then people might wake up and realize that the police are not the authority. Because you can't say that you're born free. And that you can't say, see, in other words, if you knew that government starts with family, society starts with family. And so does, and my son always tell me this, and I got it, so does the authority of government with family. So who could be out across walking the earth plane, Tara? Who could be out walking here that has an authority over you if in fact you have a right from birth to do whatever you want to do, provided you do not infringe on someone else's right to the same. That's the order of society. That's what should be taught. That's what should come out of the household into family. When does a police, now you want to really talk about that.
Go ahead.
You need to recognize that the police are policy enforcers, first of all. They are policies enforcers. So how did they who are they? Who hired them? They're corporate employees. And you'll look, there's a state law that says that police are there to protect the interests of the corporations. Hello? So whatever they're doing, it ain't meant for you. And all these warrior sons out there, if they could just get this, and I know they will, and I know the next generation coming, standing, still living right now, breathing right now, will have it because they have no right and authority over you as family. Our problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the Biblios Heliotext that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most elite. So even those who think they're highly educated and this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated. Now, as far as that, that's really explains sovereignty. It begins with family. And the Constitution is written based on the spiritual. It's a spiritual document. It's the most spiritual document that exists, even though it wasn't written for Moors. Because the authority was from the people of the land that wrote it to keep other citizens and people in check from violating you. And at minimum, if we were to enforce that, we would be in much better shape. My goodness, much better shape. Now, Black Panthers, right? In case you would bring that up, I would bring it up because some people do that. Well, they had, they were in the courts with guns. Yep, but they had one problem.
What was that?
They called themselves Black. And it's just that simple. And even though that may not have been coming into play as heavy, they have all been set up to steal your birthright. That means your right to birth. That means the right for you to just be here and breathe and do what you do and co-create with the universe. That's what's being stolen. And then when you take it to another level, to steal the land so that you can't feed yourself. To say that you got to buy that which is really your estate and inheritance. So when you look at it that way, they knew they would kick in. The fact that, they got guns, yeah, they're allowed to have firearms. They kick in that you're a 14th Amendment citizen. But they ain't going to tell you that. They're not going to sit there and tell you, we got jurisdiction over you because you just said that, your name was, you just said, I live at. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to roll over you like you weren't there because that's the name of the game, because jurisdiction means the right to speak.
Mm-hmm. How do one determine their nationality?
From their mother.
But how do you know that you are
One mother's
Moor?
breath had
How
given.
do you know you are Moor or what tribe you come from without taking DNA tests or
Okay,
stuff
fine.
like that?
I'm going to straighten that out
Okay.
for you. First of all, we're going to take the word tribe. Let's get it straight. Tribe is nothing but a family name. That's it. People keep wanting to take this word tribe and make it like I'm from this tribe and this nation and I'm from that tribe. Get it straight. Tribes are family names of the same people from the same nation. And Moors, if we could get back to the definition that I gave in the beginning, then we would get it. Then we